Welcome everyone to another episode of ISLA NAPALI, and welcome to an episode which will be great for the suckers of progress. So in this episode we are going to finish basically the entire station build with all that belongs to it. So it's about 20-ish minutes and including some cinematics at the end. So stay tuned and enjoy today's very long episode. Alright, so here we are in today's episode, and I try at least to talk you through what's going to happen. I'm very sorry though that my voice might be a bit, I don't know, scratchy, if that's the right term, because the reason is that I don't know if I'm just trying to get around a cold or whatsoever, or there is a cold going to get me, I don't know. At least I've got my medics with me, I've got a cup of tea here, and yeah, I'm just hoping that I'll get away with it and don't need to yeah, go through a cold or whatnot. That would be very unfortunate because I'm on a little trip next week and I really want to do this trip, and yeah, I have to pre-record some stuff for it. Anyways, let's not bother you too much with my own belongings, because in today's episode there's quite a bit we have to talk about, and the first thing we are going to talk about is this switch track over here, which is not necessarily a switch track per definition. This is, you know, I'm going to talk you through a little bit. I don't know if this is going to work out the way I hope it will, but the idea I had in mind for this one over here is basically that this is only a maintenance area. So as you can see, there is the potential to drive the whole track over to the left hand side. However, there won't be a chance to somewhat have another piece of track going in there, because we actually would have to have the same thing on the right hand side as well, so that the two track pieces can just slide over, so that the the train on the one track piece moves into the storage area and then the other piece of track comes in. Now the only thing I have in mind that could work is that we have kind of a second part of the track coming upwards. So this is also stored in here, so that would be on the other hand side. So as soon as the one piece of track slides over, the other one slides upwards into position. I don't even know if that's possible. I am at least willing to try this, because that would make things a lot more realistic. I mean, yes, it's all not functional at all, but as we go in here with a hyper-realism attempt, again, as I explained a few episodes ago, it doesn't mean that it has to be hyper-realism in terms of copying something that is really existing. It's more about the fact, is this possible? Could this be done in real life? Yes, no. And if it's a yes, physically doable in real life, I kind of succeeded with what I've done. And yes, there might be also the thing that it, kind of wouldn't work because nobody would do it like this, because it would be super inefficient or whatnot. Then I can really argue, okay, guys, you know what? Let's not do this. And so yeah, as you may see now, I was exactly trying to do this, what I was just mentioning. I was trying to build the track down here, and then also getting the coaster car in already, so that it kind of would slide down and just slide upwards again with the track on it. But I just felt like it doesn't really work out the way I wanted it, because we couldn't have the coaster car stay on it. It just didn't work out, because every time you delete track pieces, the coaster car disappears. I haven't ever tried this, but I was already feeling it would be like that. But yeah, anyways, that's about it, about how it is. And yeah, at the moment, as you can see, I'm trying to theme that all up. I also need to change the length of the track of the car, maybe, because at the moment it doesn't work, because the car is pretty much too long, like one car too long exactly. So we need to shorten the car, and I hope that I don't need to change the friction stuff, because that would be very unfortunate. Yeah, I'm just quickly getting a nip of my cup of tea, and then I'll continue talking you through this time lapse. Alright, so you might have heard the spacebar clicking very loud. I might cut this out, but eventually I'll forget. So sorry. Anyways, you can see that I'm going to build the roof now, which is a very simple design, because again, as for the story of this all, this pretty much has been built into this area. So I'm going to explain that a bit more in detail now. So, as I have explained to you already in the last couple of episodes, this building is the visitor center of ISLA NAPALI when it hasn't been a theme park in the past. So The story was that this visitor center was mainly for inspiration for people that were coming because of the botanic things like flowers and plants and all this kind of stuff in here. And yeah, it turns out that I love the idea that much that I was kind of thinking about how this could be made possible. And you can actually see from where we are looking at right now, the right-hand side building, the big one with the roundish roof on top, is the main center. And as I explained in last episode, the little bit of where the toilet and the medical center is in, that is maybe one of the buildings that has been already within the botanical garden, so potentially there has been a facility as it is right now with a toilet in it. I kind of explained this in the last episode as well. If you want to know more about that, make sure to go to the episode of yesterday and check out what this is about. But yeah, it turned out that this is really a cool idea, and so I went with it, and I thought, okay, this bit in between, the transfer track, which is now existing, this has been built later. So as the coaster has been fit into and been planned, they planned exactly this in between. And this is also the reason why there is this kind of a little bit of space issue here in terms of switch track. So I think this is pretty much a good explanation why it is that way. And we fixed a lot of issues now. We fixed the fact that you know, that the queue wasn't working too well because being beneath the track is not too nice. So we only have this one area where you can go through, but that's about it. And yeah, again, I mean, it could be possible to create a switch track, a proper switch track, as I'm looking at it right now, on top of these little shop items there, but I don't want to do this. By the way, just mentioning, this is one of my favorite elements of the whole area. These little, you know, the little, what is this, vending machine, which is sunken into the wall, and also the ATM that works pretty nice indeed in this one. But anyways, we are already in the next recording, so the first 1.5 hours of footage is already gone, guys. So the switch track is basically done for now, but as I said, I will do some fixes also according to your comments, and I hope really that you guys will finally come on and do some commenting again. I don't know what's happened in the last, let's say, 3 episodes. They were pretty much dead. I don't know, might already be because of the you know, the low amount of progress in here. So I'm hoping today there is so much progress and you get some wonderful cinematics at the end that at least you guys are commenting a bit more than usually, because honestly, I couldn't really take out too much out of the last episodes. I was hoping for a lot more feedback before I was recording this bit over here, but there was not too much feedback, so I thought, okay, you know what, I just go on and do the big video now, as people have been requesting. Let's do the big progress video and see if people then will come up with a lot more feedback, because otherwise this will get me stuck anyways. And so I thought, okay, you know what, just let's go with the flow and see what people are coming up with. However, there will be a lot for you to focus on today. As I said, the switch track, I explained quite a bit about this, how this will function, and I think it will function. So for those of you who are really into this kind of stuff, is it possible to have like a elevating track piece beneath that one, so that the one piece is sliding to the left side away and the other piece just comes upwards, like sliding upwards into the position, so that we can operate the train at the same time where the other one is in the storage track? That would be awesome to know, because I have absolutely no idea if it is working or not. Anyways, as you can see, we are working on the first shop front here, which I think is also a building that has been rebuilt, or let's say built later, because I feel this could also be a super nice connection to the operation room of the coaster. So just imagining that people can go into the backstage, and this is one thing I have to focus on, but I think I will go first to the log flume and then do the backstage area of the wooden coaster later, because I don't want to bother you even further with the wooden coaster at this point. I'll also give you a POV in the upcoming days of this coaster. It's not finished, but you know, as we did it with the other coasters as well, you're gonna get a POV of the work in progress, and you can also comment in this POV how you like it or not. Yeah, then we are getting into something that gave me a huge struggle. We did this again in a live stream, which was very spontaneous, and not many people have been in there, because I didn't really point that out. So I think we were just 14-15 people, so that was pretty cozy. And yeah, I had this big struggle with these exhaust fans here, or exhaust pipes, I should say. Yeah, it really gave me a struggle where to put them. I didn't want to let them go on exactly where the the shops itself are, because I would look on this flat roof where people have a little bit of a sight on. Doesn't look that nice, so I decided to bring that over to the station, and it will be covered up with foliage later on. And I was actually struggling where to put the exhaust fan itself. We ended up doing it really close to where the exhaust pipe goes in, as you can see here, and then we put something in from the inner side, where I was also quickly noticing that I forgot to make this all look nice from the inside, so I just quickly did this to make sure that this all looks nice and tidy. There are a few things I still need to tidy up, so don't worry, I'll do that eventually, but for the moment this is what it looks like. You can pretty much not spot this at all, but I think we have set such a high quality in this series that I really need to look into every little detail here and there to make sure that this all looks nice and tidy, and you know. Anyways, we are getting into one of my most favorite bits of today's episode, because this actually it's not the most favorite, this will be the last thing we are doing, but this gave me a huge struggle. So, and what was struggling me so much is which awning I wanted to use. So the problem about the awning was there was not really an awning that I kind of was happy with, and I didn't really want to build one myself. The reason for this is in contrast to the roofs that are most likely looking good when you have a lot of different angles in there. The awning needs to be pretty tidy, and by tidy I really mean tidy. It kind of is something that you would like to see from different angles, because people are standing really close to it. And then you don't want to have like Z-fighting, or you don't really want to have like ugly little slightly different color shapes or textures, whatnot. That kind of distracts from the immersion. So this is why I wanted to use in-game awnings here rather than going with a self-made one. And also couldn't find anything suitable in the workshop, so yeah. That's why. But then I started to do something I haven't done so much, but since this is a visitor center, has been a visitor center, even though this building might have been added to it later, it still could be something that has been built to exist here. And I just took one of the awesome posters that have been made for this area, and I just used this as a placeholder, because maybe you guys come up with something interesting that could be put in that box. But I wanted to kind of create this information box here, so that we could maybe, I don't know what we put in, maybe a very nice fact about plants. Maybe this could also be an advertisement already for the wooden coaster. I don't know. Maybe you guys can come up with an idea what we could put there into this information box. But for the moment, I don't really know what this could be, if I'm completely honest with you. Anyways, yeah, we are continuing to put a sign on. And again, I really struggle with the in-game fonts. Not a big fan of them. I'm honest with you guys here. I would love to be able to put in my own fonts. That would be awesome. I don't know if this could work somehow, but these fonts in-game, I don't know. They are neat, you know, but they are not awesome. And this is what really bugs me about them. And I always tend to do it myself, but then again, I would do this all in the Theme Maker's Toolkit, which is using polygons for nothing, to be honest. So yeah, I'm really struggling. However, I wanted to make a little bit of a display here, if you will, to make sure that we put some stuff on to see what you can get here, even though you can't really get this here because it's solely food. But I thought it would be still very nice to put something there, to have at least a little bit of shop items going on. I don't know, it just creates a little bit more of nice and shop feeling. I guess this is what I wanted to say. Yeah, I created then another planter here, because this area is still missing a lot in terms of colorfulness. Is that even a word? It's not colorful enough. And I wanted to have some planters, so I kind of, you know, came up with this one. Moved the cupboard slightly to make it look a bit more realistic, and then yeah, eventually I was pretty happy with how this area turned out to look like, because I really have to say that this is something I was struggling with, as I said at the beginning. I had so many ideas for it, but they all turned out to be not working. I tried a little bit of stuff off screen before I then went on streaming, and so this was already with a certain idea in mind, but I think it turned out even better than I hoped in the beginning. Also, you can see here I experimented something with putting these, actually these are things from the workshop, which I think they are t-shirt holder bars or whatnot, or pillars, I don't know how to call them, but they are pretty nice because they're pretty small, but yet they are awesome because you can just stick them to the wall and do something else with. And I thought, okay, why not use them as kind of a holding mechanism for making plants grow up there. But anyways, yeah, now we are going into my favorite bit of this episode. It is really the favorite bit of the episode. We are getting into theming the queue area in the beginning of this one. So the queue in the background in the backlog of the coaster is pretty boring because, well, not for the people standing in there, because you can really watch the coaster coming into the station each and every time. That looks awesome. And once you're in the building, you can hear the coaster passing by 2 times, I guess, even. So quite exciting and quite fulfilling what you would love to do with the queue. But this queue in front of this building is really dedicated to do something else. And this is kind of to show what this has been before. And that's why I'm building a little gallery thing in here. It's not a gallery, it's I forgot the name of it. It's also not an aquarium. I don't know. It's just this like glass box, if you will, where you put usually could also put like reptiles in, or and also tried to see if we can put some stuff in, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it. So this is, again, it has been a botanical garden, and obviously putting a coaster into a botanical garden will definitely not help the plants to grow. So definitely not. And this is why we at least should think about the fact that these plants would either way have had some issues there, and maybe they had to be relocated anyways, and then we kind of, use this given space, or we move the plants on purpose, or, make sure that we can conserve them in a better way and make sure that the plants survive, and, and to make sure that this happens, people would actually need to know what kind of plants we are talking about. And this is why I made a very colorful plant growing little gallery item here, which is giving you an idea of how this area looked like before. So it's really giving you the vibe of it, and we also put a little sign later on in front of it so that people can really see what these plants are about. Little side note, obviously there's no text on it because I don't have that small font available. I wouldn't need to do this myself in the toolmaker, and I guess I will do this eventually because it adds a little bit of a nice touch to it. And yeah, this is I think this looks really nice. It looks really decent. The queue turned out to be exactly what I wanted to have it at the beginning, so it just guides you through a tiny bit of history, not too much, just a little bit, so that people can enjoy what has been there. And as you can see, I'm also changing the path a little bit so that it does fill the gaps a bit better in terms of, it looked a bit off at the beginning, so this is why I made this. Obviously, yes, we need a little roof on top here that makes sure that the plants are not in the full heat, even though, well, they are not in full heat, but they're like in a tropical box now. So this is also why I'm getting some energy there and some venting so that, these plants can be conserved in a good way. We have also some lighting going on in a few seconds so that we make sure that all looks nice and tidy. And yeah, here's the little sign I was talking about. So quite a lot of detail already going on for this area. So usually I love to block it out first and then go in with the details later. But I thought, okay, I'm in such a good flow. Let's now continue what you see. And yeah, this is what I just mentioned a few seconds ago. This is the lovely lighting, and I was struggling a bit because there are not too many pieces that have this nice directional lighting. If you use the area light, for example, it just has, as it is called, aerial light and not pointing. And most of the pointing light sources are within these actually big models, so I needed to find something that is rather small and just fitting in. And so yeah, I needed to kind of create this design choice made lighting thing. I don't even know how to call it. I just used these two pieces to make sure that this at least looks like as it is supposed to be looking, like that. Yeah, anyways, I didn't make that choice myself. However, we are now slowly approaching the end of today's episode, and as I said, we are nearly done with this area, so you're gonna get a few lovely cinematics at the end, so you guys can really see how this looks like, because the time-lapse has been pretty freaking quick today, and I can totally understand if you haven't seen it all that nice. So you get some nice cinematics right now, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so, and also if you haven't shared the video or watched it or liked it or whatever, do it if you like ISLA NAPALI, and make also sure to watch all the last episodes if you haven't done this, because they are important to understand the full lovely story of ISLA NAPALI. And again, leave your comment down below about all the things we talked about in today's episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day, and until next time, bye bye guys.
We should be hiding out wherever we may find.